Yeah, I remember when I first came here because you were still having some sales times. I think
Yes.
there were some customers still coming
Hmm.
in. It's very interesting because I love the fact that now with the internet, you can find any book you want if you're willing to meet that price, or pretty much any book you want somehow. But the thing which I do miss, and it's the same way I feel about reading a newspaper online. You go
Hmm.
right to the subject you want and you
Right.
learn about that subject, or you go right to the book you want and you buy that book.
Hmm.
But one of the things I loved about bookstores in the old days and physical newspapers is you'd be in a bookstore and you wouldn't think you'd be interested in something, but there you'd see it right over on that shelf, and you'd go over, and sometimes you'd find yourself interested in a whole new world.
Sure. Happy accidents
Yeah,
finding things on the shelves, of course.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's once things started to develop on the internet, and the internet became open to marketing and merchandising. I like to say that the world suddenly found itself awash in books. As you said a moment ago, really you can find almost any book printed since probably the 17th century
Wow.
available on various websites, including our own and some of the international websites such as Amazon or abooks.com or alibris.com.
I remember when the internet was first starting to have a big impact on the book business.
Hmm.
And I remember talking with you and perhaps Mike, your son, who I know works here and has been also a good friend of mine for many years. And I remember we were talking about values of books and how some books that had been very valuable, or let's say very hard to find because a lot of people wanted them, all of a sudden they weren't valuable at all, but these weird little things that you'd find on occasion and the back closet of
Yep.
some house, all of a sudden those would be very valuable. In other words, it sort of redefined the whole ideas of rarity and scarcity.
Yeah, I like to say that really there aren't any rare books any longer. I say that euphemistically in the sense that I know that certainly the first edition of James Joyce's Ulysses, signed by Joyce, continues to be a rare book, or at
Yeah.
least an expensive book. But books that we thought were hard to find. For example, when I was a kid collecting Edgar Rice Burroughs, uh, it was very difficult to find first editions of his writings, and they would, at that time in the 50s, they were priced anywhere from $10 up. Today they're in abundance. The prices are higher, of course,
Hmm.
but you can find just about any first edition of Edgar Rice Burroughs you want if you're willing to pay the money. The marketplace has been opened for the last 12 to 15 years by the internet, and it's really a buyer's market today, and has been, and will, I think, continue to be.
I remember.